regards to the debate we're going to be having tomorrow, some of you may be familiar. Guys, I need you to listen because we're going to teach this tomorrow, so you're going to hear this today. Some of you may be familiar with it, you may not be, but I'm going to try to make it as simplified as possible. So I'm a member of the co-education panel for the tournament that we are in attendance. Joy is also part of the CA, so if you have any questions, please feel free to refer to Joy, feel free to refer to Franco. There's also someone else, but he's not here at this time, Mascot, also on the cap. Any of us will answer any questions that you have with regards to the debate. But I'm pretty certain that this briefing is going to be comprehensive enough, so you're not going to have any questions at all. But again, just in case, and I will also take any questions here if you have any questions after this. And then also, of course, after this, you go and have your speech. But this is with regards to the debate tomorrow. It's not impacting what you're doing right now, just for that. So the first thing that you need to recognize about this debate. So we're going to be having 5-minute speeches for the school's team. Good afternoon to all teachers. You're very welcome to Nigeria. Okay, so we're going to be doing 5-minute speeches for you guys. The mainstream debate is going to be 7 minutes long, but we've set yours at 5 minutes cap. So it's just going to be 5-minute speeches. You have the way this debate is structured. Again, I don't know if you have any knowledge about British parliamentary or not, but if you do, this is going to be short. If you don't, it's going to be long. So you're going to have 15 minutes grace period at the beginning of your speech where you have no POIs. After 15 minutes, anybody can ask POIs. It is advised and compulsory that you ask POIs. POIs are points of information. So this is 5 minutes speeches. I apologize. 30 minutes actually, since it's just 5 minutes speeches. 30 minutes before.
Wait, is it for the prep time or POI?
Prep time, no prep time. I'm talking about prep time. I'm talking about the POI.
If you just see the student second,
15 seconds, 30 seconds rather, 30 seconds at the beginning of your speech, you don't get any questions. After 30 seconds, you get questions. I'm so sorry. And then, after 4 minutes and 30 seconds, the POI also closes, so you don't get any questions after that. I'm going to go over this again. It's 5 minutes speaking time. You get 30 seconds before and 30 seconds after for no questions, and then you have any questions within the remainder of the time frame. So POIs are advised. The prep time is going to be 15 minutes. It's not going to be like the speech that you already have prepared. You're going to receive the motion on the spot. You only get 15 minutes to prep with your partner. No phones, no internet, no ChatGPT, no cloud, none of that, no Gemini, what else? No bag, all of that, none of that. It's just you and your partner and your brains. So you're going to have 15 minutes to prepare. You get 5 minutes to speak. You get 30 seconds grace period. I think that's the only thing that matters with regards to timing. POIs are 15 seconds long. So from the moment that you ask POIs, you're going to have judges in the room to coordinate all of this, but this is just so you can time yourself. You're going to have 15 seconds, POIs are 15 seconds long, which means you are advised to write your POIs down before you ask them. And then, so you don't take up a lot of screen time, because after 15 minutes, the judge in the room is going to stop you and the speaker is going to go on with their speech. So mostly advise that you write your POIs down before the debate starts. So this debate is going to have 4 sides. When you walk into the debate room, there's going to be 4 sets of chairs. There's opening government, opening opposition, closing government, closing opposition, 2 speakers per team. Guys, I really need you to listen to this because it's not going to happen tomorrow. That's the most important thing. It's happening now and only now. There are 4 teams and there are going to be 2 speakers per team. Opening government, opening opposition, closing government, closing opposition. In the opening government, we have the Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister. I'm going to tell you what your roles are in the debate. In the opening opposition, we have the Leader of Opposition and the Deputy Leader of Opposition. In CG, we have the Government Extension and Government Whip. And opposition, closing opposition, we have the Opposition Extension and the Opposition Whip. So, opening government, Prime Minister, the job is to set up the debate. You have to provide at least 2 to 3 constructive arguments. You have to refute any preconceived case that you think the opposition is going to run. So I want to use a very simple motion. If the debate it's not going to be this simple, to be honest, I would very much advise that you go online this night and use all of your cloud and ChatGPT time to research. If the motion is something as basic as this House will ban junk food, as the proposition Prime Minister, you have to define the debate, you have to tell us what this debate is going to be about, you have to give us at least 2 to 3 constructive arguments, and you have to think of something the opposition is going to say and respond to that. So if they're going to say, oh, we don't think that we should ban junk food because, well, it's quite tasty, you have to give a preemptive response to that by saying, the opposition would say that junk foods are tasty, but we think that they are bad for your health, they lead to massive obesity, and such and such. So that's basically your role as the Prime Minister. Introduce the debate, define the debate, give a preconceived response to the team, and most importantly, you have to tell us why your case is the most important, even from the very first speech. You can rearrange this however you please. It's your speech, it's your 5 minutes, but at the very least, for you to get good speaker's points, these are the things that your speech should be able to do. This is with regards to the first speaker of the opening open opposition first speaker. Your job is to talk about whether or not the model that has been set by the opening government is correct. So if the debate is this House will ban junk food, if opening government says this House will ban junk food for kids ages 0 to 5, if you disagree with that, you can say we disagree with the model, we think that this House should ban junk food overall, or we don't think this House should ban junk food at all. It is up to you again to redefine. Bear in mind that you don't always have to redefine, mostly because the debate is not always going to be this ordinary and basic. It's most likely going to be something everybody can. I'm talking maybe government issue, world issues, which is why I said if you take the time this evening, go online. You're not going to use phones or anything for this. It's going to be your brain. Most likely, if you don't know what the debate is about, you're going to struggle. So it's important that you have at the very least a little bit of knowledge about what's happening everywhere else. So it's not in all instances that you have to refute the definition that has been given by the opening government. Sometimes you can agree with the definition and say, even if we think we should ban junk food for kids aged 0 to 5, we still think that that's not, we shouldn't ban junk food at all, or just whatever you're going to have as an extension to that. The most important thing is you are either on the opposition side, disagreeing with the definition that has been set, or agreeing with it and contradicting it in some other way. Those are the only two options you have. You can't argue the same thing they argue. You either disagree completely, disagree partly, disagree to an extent, disagree and contradict, just anything opposing to that. Those are your options. Those are the options that are available to you on the overall side. Of course, you also have to give your constructive arguments for your opposition. Tell us why you disagree. You can give rebuttal. Not you can, you should, you must, you have to rebut the argument that they have already given. You have to tell us why you don't agree. You have to tell us the extent to which you don't agree. You have to tell us, most importantly, again, why your case is the most important. These are roles, or these are responsibilities of the team. So again, you define this however you see fit. It is most advisable that both speakers do rebuttal, because after the PM speaks, the OO speaks, DPM speaks, DLO speaks. It's a very long debate, so you have to make sure that at all point in time you are rebutting, because you are not, even if you end up being in the same room with another team from your school, you are not on the same side during that debate. I'm going to say it again. Even if you end up being in the same room with another team from your school, for the purpose of that debate, you are not on the same side. Even if you're on the same bench, you're not on the same side. If you're on the opposing bench, you're not on the same side. Your goal is to, I'm going to use this word very, very loosely, take the definition very, very loosely as well. Destroy all the other teams in the room, regardless of whether they are from your school or not, or you know them personally or not, and all that. So that's why the role that I'm explaining is for teams as a whole. You get to divide that wherever you see it. Closing government, you have to provide an extension. So closing government teams always struggle, because most likely the opening teams are going to matter more. So we say this House will ban junk food. You think we should ban junk food because it makes people unhealthy? We should ban junk food because it's expensive. I think there's a lot of sugar taxes now that in a lot of countries. I don't want to call Ghana because Franco is here, but then the sugar tax is anyways, there's a lot of like these are the things. You can also look to your country. What do you think the sugar tax is there? Are things that are sweeter, more expensive? Let me talk about Nigeria. So Franco doesn't feel it good. Nigeria is also going towards the less tasty variety. You see a lot of Coke, less sugar, less this, less that, because everybody's trying to reduce intake in order to reduce taxation. So these are things that you can add to your argument. Oh, it's expensive not to buy sugary things, it's bad for your health, it's bad for the economy, it makes kids not eat the vegetable. By the time the opening team in their 10 minutes, because each speaker gets 5 minutes to speak, they run through all of this. Closing team, you're at a loss. You're probably ticking off everything they say from your book, because you have the same thing written down. Regardless, your role as a closing government is to extend the debate, which means you have to come up with some arguments. How you come up with it is really up to you, but you have to compulsorily come up with one. So these are tools that I can give you to help you. One thing you can do is to just do massive rebuttals. So if you can't come up with anything new at all, you can just spend your time responding to all the arguments that are currently being made in the debate. At the very least, you rank second. At the very least, you rank third, but you don't rank fourth if you rebut well enough. So you can do massive rebuttals. Another thing you can do is to also try to diminish the opening case. So you can try to say that the opening case said this, but we are going to say it better, and then you say it better, of course, because if you don't say it better, then you're just opening team, and then in which case we feel the opening team over you. So the most important thing is to make sure that you actually fill up the blanks when you say we're going to do something better than we have already done it. So that's the extent to which that applies. Closing teams, you have to do extensions, you have to give us a new idea, even if it's just one, you have to give us a new angle to the debate. So if we say it's this house with ban junk food, and they make it about everything that I said before, you can say, we think we should ban junk food for maybe cancer patients, or we should ban junk food for service workers, just whatever you want to make it about really is up to you. You can just pick one area, one sector. I can give you all the general areas. Most debates, if not all debates, is either going to come from politics, science, religion, social, environmental. We don't really stray so far away from mostly politics. There's a lot of political happening all over the world now, so you're most likely going to see something politically related. You're most likely going to see something environmental. Just these human rights, religion, maybe feminism, all of this social concepts. So we don't stray so far away from these ideas. So most likely it's going to come within that. If you see a motion and everything that you have that is written has been said by the other team, just pick another area. If they make the debate about economics, make it about socialism. If they made it about social, make it about religion. We think we should ban junk food in churches. Just do your thing. It's your 5 minutes. You can do whatever you want with it. Then of course, I already talked about for people in the opening team. Tell us why your case is most important. Everybody has to say why their case is important. You are showing why you are winning without a lot of going into it. Finally, closing opposition also have the same duties as opening up. You also have to provide extension as well. You can respond to your opening, diminish here, or respond on this side, that's the government side. You feel to the government bench, tell us why your case is most important. The only thing I would notice, everybody has a laxity to introduce an extension or to introduce, yes, an argument, except the whip speaker of the opposition. I'm going to say it again. Everybody gets to make an argument except the whip speaker of the opposition. The government whip speaker only gets to make at most one extra argument, at most, and in most instances, because this is honestly at the end of the day a judge by judge thing. So some judges would prefer that no whip speaker make any argument. Some judges would prefer that if the closing opposition whip speaker government whip speaker makes an argument, it's fine. But no judge is going to take a new argument from the opposition whip. That much we all agree on. The other one is going to disagree. So most likely just give all the extensions to the first speaker of your team so they can get it out of the way, and then you then do the whipping. Whipping is basically telling us why you won the debate over and above everybody else. As opposed to when I've been saying, tell us why your case is most important, tell us why your case is most important. Whipping is like, tell us why your case is most important, pro max. I guess you are telling us why your case is most important over all the other teams in the room. So that's your duty with regards to that. Of course, you can't knife your opening half. When I say knife your opening half, you can't rebut your opening half. That's it. So again, you can't rest. If you are closing opposition, you can't say opening opposition is wrong for this and this reason. But you can't say you don't agree with their scope and they are going to do this without directly saying that what they said is wrong or whatnot. So that's that for the speaking. Speaker range. So again, we score on a point-by-point base, which means that you may lose a debate. Well, first of all, losing a debate is very, very contextual because there's first to fourth, and you can rank between first to fourth, but there's also another room that also has a first to fourth, and another room that has a first to fourth. So fourth also is very relative. You might be fourth in your room, and in the other room, you have the speaker scores of someone that ranked first. It really depends. So the most important thing you need to do is to build your speaker scores. Even at the end of the day, if you don't go home with anything, you can go home with a medal for best speakers. So the things that we're going to be checking, if I go to the things we're going to be checking for speaker score, I'm going to tell you the range of the speaker score. So we have above 85. Most likely we're not going to see that here. Let me rephrase that because that kind of implies that nobody can give an 85 space. But maybe it's kind of like 100. So like for you to see a speech that you categorize as 100, it has to be astronomical. Like it has to be over the top. The person has to make no mistakes. There has to be no errors. It has to be flawless, smooth. Your new debaters, even intercollegiate debaters, all of the older ones that you're going to see tomorrow, they struggle to make that speeches. So it's not that you can't make it. You're just not expected to. You just want to see what you can think of with your brain and without aid or anything else. So we're not really looking to see that, but we are looking to see 75 to 80 at the very least. So 70 is usually the average for speaks. I'm going to tell you how we rank that. But 70 is usually the average. 70 is what we give to somebody that just tries, just does something. So you should be aiming to get to 80, maybe 85. I'm very sure if it's possible. So let me just be clear. If somebody gives an 85 speech, they're going to get that. It's not a complete bar. It's just, that's just maybe not to be expected, but still do your best. You have 75 to 80 to go crazy with. If you don't speak in a round, I think you get automatically 70. Yeah, so 70 is what we give to somebody that barely makes that has their name on the ballot. That's it. So you are going above that. So try to get as much as possible. You can reach out to your judges after each round to say how was my speech, just so you can also build your confidence. I'm saying this mostly in instances where you lose a round. Don't be discouraged. Those are not the only things that determine whether you break. If you have a very good speaker's point, somebody that wins the debate might sit down to you all receiving the medal for the best speaker of the round. So there are too many things to be done here for you to be discouraged by because you have a fault or whatnot. And again, like I said, you can have a fault in your room, and your fault is basically an equivalent to a first in another room because of the quality of the speech. So look out for that as well. What the judges use to decide who wins the debate? It's important that you know this because you need to construct your speeches not necessarily based on what you think, but what you want the judge to believe. At the end of the day, it honestly doesn't matter what's true and what's not. What matters is what you are able to convince the judges of. So we usually say this in debates, there are no right answers. There really are no right answers. Take it out of debate, there are no right answers anywhere. They're just answers that are well proven. So for your answer to be well proven, you have to do the work. So you have to convince the judge with your constructive material, that's your actual point. You have to convince the judge with your rebuttals. So how much rebuttals are you able to give and within what time? You have to be very strategic. I already spoke to you guys about strategy without calling it strategy. When I was talking about moving the debate, if they say the debate is economical, when it gets to your turn, say the debate is social. They say the debate is social, when it gets to your turn, say it's religion. Those are strategies to move the debate, divert the attention of the judge. It's not enough to just say, they say the debate is social, we say the debate is economical, and leave it there. You have to give us reasons. You have to convince that judge. The judge in your room is the arbiter. You have to convince that judge that the debate is supposed to be whatever you say it is. And of course, style. Feel free to do whatever you want, honestly. Dance, clap, cry, maybe cry. Crying will get you far. So just go crazy and do whatever you want with it. It's your style. But the point is we also award marks for style. So if you're able to give a very good style, The judge might not necessarily believe you, but they will definitely believe your style. Like I said, there's so many things that win debates, and they wouldn't believe the things that some judges are considered to be important. Next is, let's talk about this. I think we need to go over all of this again. Feedback. Now, this is very important. If we're doing 5-minute speeches for you guys, it means that we have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. So you get to speak, you all get to speak to the judge for 40 minutes. The judge only gets to give you feedback, oral adjudication for 15 minutes. Whether you win or lose the debate, it is not only advisable, because that's not the end of the competition, it is also respectful to listen to the judge to the very end. You most likely will not agree. I wouldn't even say you might not agree. You probably will not agree. You think you won. Everybody always thinks they won. But somebody has to come in front. We are going to advise you that you be respectful to the judges and listen. We are only going to give you feedback 10 minutes, 15 minutes at most. Consider the fact that they listen to you for a full 40 minutes and listen to them for just that 10 minutes so that you can take away things, not even just for the competition, but for your personal growth as a debater and a speaker. You might hear something that will help you in your speech, in your growth as a debater and whatnot. And even if you don't, you can also reach out to the judges for personal feedback, of course in a controlled environment, with teachers and whatnot. But still, you can get personal feedback so that the judge can give you feedback that is specifically tailored to you as a speaker. Let the judge tell you what they think about it. So that's the most important thing I want you to note about the feedback is we are also going to tell it to the other guys too when they come for their briefing tomorrow. So it's not like we're singling you out. Everybody needs to give the judges respect. They listen to you from beginning to end. You get to listen to them too for 10 minutes or less. Alright. Moving on to judges' feedback. So we're going to have a feedback. Are we having a feedback? We're going to have a feedback mechanism. So when you don't agree with the judge, that's where you air your grievance. Not in the room. Don't be rude. Don't roll your eyes. Don't be sarcastic. Don't make snide comments. Listen and be respectful. You're still all very young. So this is actually the age where you should be very, very respectful. So just listen to the judge. And then when you disagree, you go to the feedback form. It's probably going to be explained in detail tomorrow. And then you tell the feedback form why you disagree with the judges. We are going to read and see it. And if we agree with you, you're most likely not going to be judged by that judge again. But if you disagree and you don't say anything about it, if you meet the judge later, nobody is trying to sabotage you or whatnot. Because you didn't tell us you had a problem with the judge, we couldn't address the issue you didn't tell us about. So you're most likely going to have an equity form and a judge's complaint form. Fill them, use those forms, let those forms be your best buddies. We gave our 2-3 days to you guys. We are here to read all of your complaints, so complain as much as you can and as much as necessary on the form, not to the judge in the room, on the form, and then we refer to the judge and then we try to fix whatever problem that's noted. Okay, so that's it for the briefing. Thank you for listening. Just note importantly, there's only going to be 2 of you in the teams. You're not going to be able to use any gadgets. Immediately we see you, we will be moving around during the prep. If we see a phone, if we see a smartwatch that's talking too loudly for our liking, if we see anything that implies that you are going online, it is very unfair to all the other speakers. It will be an automatic power fault for that team. If we see any sign, and we will be moving around because we have the time, if we see any sign that you're going online, you automatically rank 4th in the room. Everybody on that team just gets 70. And like I said, 70 is what we give to somebody that doesn't make an effort, because we're assuming that you're not making an effort. So that is that. Please, if you have any questions, if anything is complex, anything I said is unclear, please ask now, because if you don't, I think we have about 30 minutes more before we start your speech, is it? Yes, yes. Any questions? No? Great. I did a good job. Thank you all. Yeah.